You cannot tweet your way on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list. I'll share a little bit more about how you can make the Forbes 30 Under 30 list based on my research of all 4,000 of them. How do you make the Forbes 30 Under 30 list? It's a question that I get asked quite a bit, in fact. Ambitious young people in their 20s, want a way to make that list. It's perhaps the most prestigious accomplishment you can get, more prestigious than pretty much any other college or graduate school or hell, anything that you could wind up getting accepted into. So, what does it take to make that list? Well, I set out to discover what it was. There's 4,000 people who've made that list since 2012 when it was created. The list includes people from all different fields and industries who were voted upon by some of the experts and the top most prestigious people in the professions, trying to identify about 30 or so people across a couple dozen categories who are the top of their game and in their 20s. And what I found shocked me. I thought it was going to be one of those things that it's about going to the prestigious schools or starting companies, but what I found shocked me. I first thought, well, maybe the key thing to do is to get in the most prestigious skill you could. That's going to matter. I was wrong. Turns out that only about 15% of the people on that list went to a top 10 school. That's right, only 15% went to one of the Ivies or one of the most prestigious schools. In fact, people went to over 450 different schools who made that list. So it turned out that school, while maybe sort of helpful, didn't really matter and didn't set you up for success. So maybe I thought, well, it was much more important about getting into the right graduate school, using whatever school you went into and getting yourself into graduate school. I couldn't have been more wrong on that front. It turned out actually that more people on the list didn't go to college or dropped out than actually went to graduate school. So graduate school wasn't the way to get yourself on that list either. Then I thought, well, maybe it's about being an entrepreneur, starting companies in college or immediately right thereafter. And listen, there are a lot of people on the list who started companies, but that certainly wasn't the thing either. It turns out there was only one thing that I could find in common across this list. More than 80% of the people on the list had this in common, and that was they created something that helped them stand out. Now today we call this thing a creation event. Now, just what is a creation event? Well, it's something that the person creates that helps them differentiate themselves and stand out. And we found that it's defined by three core things. Number one, you create something and you're not really doing it for money. It's not you're going out and saying, I'm going to start a company or I'm going to start a business or some type of venture. You're doing it because you care about it. It proves generosity. And the reason it matters is that it allows you to get people to rally behind this thing. So number one, you're not doing it for money. Number two, it's something that shows off depth. It takes on average 6 to 12 months. So again, back to the earlier thing, you can't tweet your way on the list. You need to do something to create something that you're able to complete in about a 6 to 12 month period, something that allows you to show off that depth while also being able to something that you can finish. And the third, and perhaps the most important thing, is it actually is something that enables you to show off your purpose. It's something you're creating that has a longer term aim to it, something that's sort of long term in nature, you care about, and something that we can see you doing for a longer period of time. Those three things. So when we looked at the list of all these sorts of things that these sort of young successful people were doing, we found they sort of bucketed across these 9 types of things. We saw people creating conferences or event series. We saw them publishing their research, putting on concerts or sharing their art. We saw them doing podcast seasons or video shows, doing courses, or even publishing and writing books. Those are the sorts of things that we found. So if you're looking for some way to sort of make the list, it turns out it's not what school you went to, what graduate school you went to, or maybe even necessarily what company you created, but instead, it's what you created outside of that. Your creation event, that thing that you do to stand out, to show off your purpose, show off your depth, and importantly, to show off your generosity. So as you're thinking about your ways to stand out today, what's your creation event? What's the thing you're going to do that's going to enable you to stand out? And that's the most successful way that you can find to stand out today, is develop and demonstrate through your creation event.